In the previous episode, we explored Molano, Bolano, and Torcello, three island communities in the Venetian lagoon that are reachable by the Vapoletti. Our La Serenissima adventure continues as we return to the historic center of Venice in the evening.
Alright, I'm back at the hotel. So if you remember that mentioned at the beginning of our trip here in Venice, tonight there will be a performance at the historic La Fenice Theater. It's going to be a piano performance by Russian pianist Lilia Zieberstein. That's going to take place in about 2 hours, but before that I'm going to go take another walk in that neighborhood, and that's also where our Rialto bridge is located, and we're going to take a look, and then afterwards we're going to head into the theater.
Despite being close to my hotel, the way to Teatro La Fenice was, well, more complicated than I thought. I never imagined that I got lost several times in the city's famous alleyways while even trying to reach the place. Then I realized that there were a few things I had to put back to my hotel room, such as my sunglasses, so it would be easier for me to go through the security checks at the theater.
Alright, found my way back to the hotel, then put away my sunglasses. Now can I realize I'm running behind, so yeah. Another bad news is I got lost, so wish me luck.
La Fenice means the phoenix in Italian. Just like the name of the theater suggests, probably all by coincidence. This theater had been destroyed by fire and then got rebuilt a few times. Teatro La Fenice is regarded as one of the most prominent opera houses in history, as it was where some of the most famous works by some of the most famous opera composers were premiered, including La Traviata by Giuseppe Verdi, an opera I actually saw in Vienna some years back. Whenever possible, I always try to buy tickets to an actual performance to fully experience not only how performances venues look like, but also how it sounds like and what it feels like. There were a few exceptions, such as l'Opéra Garnier in Paris, where I wasn't able to secure a ticket because the performances did not align with my schedule. I was lucky this time in Venice that I was able to get a ticket to a performance at Teatro La Fenice.
Alright, so the show is about to start, and of course we won't be able to film anymore, but otherwise, see you later. So we're hitting the intermission. So tonight the performance was supposed to be some Schubert and Franz Liszt, and the other people I have no idea, but anyways. So I think Schubert and Liszt, they have been played already. Well, it's not really that dark yet, and we're so close to the Academic Bridge area. Maybe we can catch the last glimpse of the view of the Grand Canal in the evening, because tomorrow I'll be in a different city. Alright, we're here.
Now we've checked out the classic view of the Grand Canal from the Accademia Bridge. Why don't we head to Piazza San Marco for the very last time of this Venice adventure?
And now come to think of it, I realized that probably all campaniles in the Venice area, they all tilt sideways for some reason. I even realized the campanile here in Piazza di San Marco, even this one is tilting a little bit. So I guess, folks, if you want to see Venice, see it now. Otherwise, it might sink into the ocean one day.
Yep, that's the sad truth. Venice is sinking. Foundations of buildings are shifting, and climate change makes everything even worse. What will happen to the city in a decade or two? We don't know. You hear a lot of people saying, if you want to visit Venice, visit it now. I think it's a valid point. I tried to visit the famous Rialto Bridge fish market a few times, but always ended up arriving too late. This time, I came here first thing in the morning, and looked like the market was already in full swing by the time I got there. I suddenly realized that it was my last day in Venice, yet there's still so much to see. I decided to check out from my hotel first, store the luggage at the front desk, and then keep exploring the ever-enchanting the City of Canals.
So this is our last day here in Venice. Clearly having 2 full days and 2 half days in Venice was definitely not enough. There's still a lot of places I wish I could go or wish I could have more time to stay at, but unfortunately, well, today that's it. I know time flew by really fast in this city. And well, I guess for the rest, hopefully in the future I get to come back and enjoy a bit more. Alright, right now I'm at the Rialto market, and behind me over there, that's a stop for Ghetto. So my rowing instructor told me that this is actually the only stop that's where you can actually catch a frequent Ghetto service. If you remember the other day, I was trying to take the Ghetto at a different stop, but I waited for 15 minutes and nobody ever showed up. And yeah, and I can see that there are so many people, and probably the tourists already taking this service right now. Again, it costs about €2 and takes about 2 minutes maximum. But if you're short on budget or short on time, really want to see what Gondola is like, definitely check it out. For me, I was well, working on one of the boats the other day, so I think I'll probably pass this time. Maybe next time I'll try it.
The Rialto market is certainly not the only noteworthy attraction in the neighborhood of San Polo. Hiding among the residential buildings, you'll come across a church building that's even bigger than Basilica di San Marco.
So right now I am at the Basilica Santa Maria Gloriosa de Frari. So this is actually the only Gothic cathedral here in Venice, and as you may know that well, Venice is pretty much just islands on a marsh, so it doesn't really have a solid foundation to support a lot of things, even including its own campaniles.
Yep, that's why you see a Gothic church that's built out of bricks. Only in Venice, because the ever-shifting foundation of the lagoon city wouldn't allow typical stone Gothic church buildings you see elsewhere to be built right here. Unfortunately, no filming was allowed inside, so I'm just presenting to you the photos I took. The interior contains several famous artworks, including altar paintings by Renaissance masters like Tiziano or Titian, Paolo Veneziano, Giovanni Bellini, and a sculpture of John the Baptist by Donatello. It also contains the resting place of Tiziano himself, and also a monument that was meant for Tiziano, but ended up for master neoclassical sculptor Antonio Canova a few centuries later. If you're looking for one of those less visited attractions without breaking the bank, you couldn't go wrong with checking all these masterpieces inside one of Venice's largest churches. At one point, I realized that you don't really have to use a bridge or rely on the €2 traghetto ride in order to cross the Grand Canal. Hey, we've got the Vapoletto system nowadays, and it's easy to tell that the next stop will be on the other side of the Grand Canal. Soon I found myself back to Canal, where my rowing class took place 2 days ago. I headed straight to an area that I did not get a chance to visit previously.
So I'm right now at the Jewish Ghetto here in Venice. Actually, the name Ghetto comes from here because, as you can see from the map, this is actually on an island. So back in the days, all the Jewish population of Venice, they were concentrated on this area. And then, of course, when you have an area with such high concentration of people from a certain group, and it congregates a ghetto, and then that's where the term comes from. So this is actually the first Jewish ghetto in the world. And the funny thing is, as you can see, the buildings in the background there also looks like they're shifting around. So I'm not sure when they're gonna go into the ocean forever, but if you want to visit Venice, do it now.
Interestingly, the Jewish ghetto also houses some of the tallest residential buildings in Venice, because the Jews were not allowed to live elsewhere in the city. And the ghetto was on an island. There was no way to expand out as the population grew, so it grew upwards. The segregation of Jews in Venice ended when Napoleon's forces conquered Venice, and thus effectively ended such restrictions. as well as the country that imposed them, the Republic of Venice.
I think we'll probably make Jewish Ghetto the last stop of our trip to Venice, and of course there are many great sights that I wasn't able to see in the past couple days, and I do hope that one day I will get an opportunity to come back and explore more.
Afterwards, I headed back to the hotel and picked up my luggage. I realized that there was still some time till my train's departure time when I reached the Venezia Santa Lucia train station.
Alright, so I just left my luggage at the train station, and I decided to take another look before I leave the city for good. And for your info, over there, there's a supermarket right next to the train station if you want cheap water. And there we go. Anyway, so the baggage costs about €6 for the first 5 hours, and then afterwards it's like €1 per hour or something. We did travel on Vaporetto on the Grand Canal, but the thing is we did it during the night, and for a good part of it we haven't seen it during the day, so that's what I'm gonna do before I board my train to Verona. And funny enough, we're actually back to the Jewish quarter. Should have checked out from the hotel early and just do it all in one trip.
Then I saw a familiar building, Ca' Pesaro. Yes, the former house of that Pesaro family who commissioned Tiziano's work of Madonna we saw at the Frari church earlier. I knew there would be a Vaporetto stop close by. On the Vaporetto, I passed by some familiar yet unfamiliar sights, like the Casino Venice, where I've only seen when it was all dark outside. There was one particular building that I never really noticed the whole time I was exploring Venice. If I don't take some time and have a great look of it now, it will be too late.
Alright, so the building behind me is a very important building here in Venice. It's called Fondaco dei Turchi. So this is, as the name suggests, used to be the building that houses the Turkish Foundation. So this was the place where Turkish merchants came and stayed, where they brought the merchandise from the east and exchange here, so the Venetian merchants can sell them to the rest of Europe. This was more like a distribution center for everything that came from Asia into Western Europe. Well, I mean, back in the days, probably only the Venetians were doing business with both the Muslims and Christians. As you might have heard, that there's one city that's being mentioned again and again in Venice, and that's Constantinople. So that's the modern-day Istanbul. Now, actually, I'm super interested. I mean, before I was super interested in Turkey and Istanbul, but this time I really feel like I need to make a series on Istanbul and Turkey. So stay tuned. Sayur and Boche in Turkey and Constantinople.
Venice got its vast fortune because of the trade routes between the East and the West. Unlike most European countries at the time, the old republic was willing to put aside religious and cultural differences and instead focusing on profit-making and creating new trade opportunities that will make Venice richer and stronger than ever. When Marco Polo, a Venetian merchant who rode on his travel to the east, where he saw the tremendous wealth that was unseen before, the fate of Venice, as well as the rest of the world, changed forever. More European nations wanted to find this wealth and own a share of it. And what happened next? Europe entered the golden age of sail. More players entered the treasure hunt, and two of the nations not only proved that the earth is not flat, but also established new trade routes that led to the decline of the Venetian Republic. In other words, Venice's downfall was caused by its own pursuing of the never-ending wealth, but lost in a competition that it kind of started itself. through a book written by one of its merchants whose name is still remembered today as the namesake of Venice's international airport. Ironic, isn't it? People say money can't buy love. If Venice is all about money, then the final destination of our veneto adventure, well, at least according to William Shakespeare, is all about love. Our veneto adventure continues as we bid farewell to Venice and say hello to Verona. Is Verona really the city of love, like many people say? Follow me to the next episode.